Oh ya Prof, di UMT bila semester baru Prof bermula?
Currently kami minggu ke-11, week 11.
Okay.
One semester biasanya 14 semester. So ni 11, lagi 3 minggu, minggu ke-14. Lepas tu ada 1 week for revision, 3 weeks for final exam. Lepas tu pelajar libur. Liburnya sekitar ini bulan 1, nanti sekitar bulan 2 baru mereka masuk semula. February. InsyaAllah by February the next semester by February.
Okay. UMY insyaAllah pada tarikh 8 Prof Februari. 8 Februari.
8 Februari.
Ya,
New semester 8
new
Februari.
semester. Ya. Ini sekarang sudah masuk ke minggu ke-15.
Oh, 15.
15.
Kami lambat lah. Kami minggu ke-11 minggu ni.
Ya.
lambat 4 minggu lah bermula.
Ya, Prof. Prof, kita menunggu sekejap Prof ya.
Boleh, tak apa. Saya masuk awal sebab saya takut ada masalah line saya. So saya masuk awal tak ada masalah.
Okey, Prof.
Saya share dengan doktor ke ataupun share nanti? Saya boleh forwardkan awal.
Boleh, Prof nanti jadi co-host. Jadi co-host nanti Prof. Boleh di-share nanti Prof.
Ya.
Okey, Prof.
Ya. Thank you.
This program is quite interesting and very impactful, because these programs invited so many renowned and international scholars around the world. And here we focus on the Islamic social finance and SDGs, not only for Indonesian case, but also for the world.
It's wonderful to be here in this exciting event. Summer School, second international training for young Islamic economic leaders. Al-Quran, science and civilizational renewal, integration and quality assurance. Universitas Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta.
So once again, and by listening Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, hopefully this event will be conducted smoothly and we will get some benefit from this one.
So Alhamdulillah, in IAUM, we managed to complete 10 textbooks the last 2 years, but another 40 to 60 coming up at international. And other universities like USM coming up with 6 textbooks in quiz in Kuala Lumpur. And also here in Imam Bonjol, in Surakarta. And we hope that Universiti Muhammadiyah Jogja will come up with a book with the number of resources that we have over here. So I hope based on this conference, more work can be done to improve the teaching and learning of Islamic economy in Universiti Muhammadiyah. Inshallah. Thank you very much.
Saya berharap ke depannya event Summer School ini akan makin berkembang dan makin memberi impak yang lebih besar kepada para peserta.
I'm very happy to be with this program. I believe that the idea of developing young minds is very important for the future development of Islamic economics, not only in discipline but also in practice.
First of all, I would like to express my happiness in having you all in the third International Conference on Islamic Economics and Financial Inclusion. Welcome to our campus, Universitas Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya Adi Warman Karim. Ini acara keren banget. ini mesti dibuat lebih gede lagi tiap tahunnya biar lebih banyak orang dapat manfaat dari acara ini. Nanti saya akan sampaikan Islamic Social Finance yang kita kaitkan dengan SDGs. Kita ingin berusaha mengangkat ilmu-ilmu Islam dan kita tularkan ke semua teori-teori yang ada di dunia sehingga kita insya Allah umat Islam Indonesia bisa mewarnai dunia dengan pemikiran-pemikiran Islam.
Pada kesempatan kali ini dalam forum international conference yang diselenggarakan oleh IPF ya, Universitas Budaya Yogyakarta, saya akan menyampaikan materi tentang Laizisme and SDGs, prospects and policies.
Thank you very much. I hope the organizer and the university will flourish and again to organize in this kind of conference in near future. Thank you very much.
I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me to share my paper on integration of Islamic microfinance with WAQF. And we had presented a model which is being practiced by our Center for Islamic Economics, basically called iTajir, which is in collaboration with the CIMB Islamic in Malaysia.
It's a good opportunity for me to attend this conference, the third conference Islamic Economic and Financial Inclusion. And it's a good opportunity for me also to bring my paper in this discussion, especially to link between Islamic finance and SDG.
Acara seminar internasional ini sangat bermanfaat ya bagi kalangan akademisi, kalangan mahasiswa untuk meningkatkan pengetahuannya, meningkatkan kualitas tulisannya khususnya tentang ekonomi keuangan syariah.
First, let me congratulate the organizing committee for choosing a topic that is very relevant today. As we know, in 2015, the United Nations formulated the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, whose idea is to bring people, planet, and prosperity together.
Acara ini sangat bagus, ya, terutama ketika topik-topiknya itu adalah sangat relevan pada zaman sekarang dan topik-topik yang dibawa adalah topik-topik terhangat.
This agenda is very delightful, great, and it's very worth for me and also for other participants because in 5 days, 8 to 8, we have many knowledge from the great speakers from overseas, and we know about Islamization of the knowledge in other world also. For the committee, I also say thanks very much because you are very strong for 5 days here and also very good to serve us as a participant.
So first of all, Alhamdulillah, because I got the best paper awards. Although I got the best paper award, it doesn't mean the other participants their paper is not best. All the participants they did their best. Okay, so for me, Alhamdulillah, is a kind of the reward from Allah SWT because give me this opportunity to come here and present my idea. Alhamdulillah, my idea is appreciated and also somehow is given some kind of the incentive for my papers.
Finally, I am personally, as director, want to express sincere thanks and appreciation to all of the parties that have contributed much to the success of this event. May Allah bless us and always give us health and iman. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Assalatu wassalamu ala asrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Sayyidina Maulana Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala who has given us the mercies and blessings so we can attend this guest lecture with our respected professors from Universiti Malaysia, Terengganu. Secondly, salam and salam may always deliver to our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and his companion and ummah who istiqomah in his way. And thirdly, I would like to express my thanks and appreciation to Professor Nur Azura Sanusi, who has spent her valuable time to stay with us today to share his humble knowledge and experience in the area of macroeconomics. Yeah. Welcome, Prof, to our programs.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Dimas and all. Thank you.
Okay, before we start, Doctor, so all of us here are the student of Department of Economics, particularly from International Program for Islamic Economic and Finance. So in our departments, we have two swings, Doctor. The first is regular program, which is taught in Indonesian language. And the second program is international programs. Both program under Department of Economics. And here we are under international program, and we only have a limited number of students, unfortunately. So we only have maximum 30 students per batch. And here the student is batch 2019, or the second year of the study. And before we start, I just want to share with you, Prof, and students, that we have already in the 15 weeks of the semesters. So here, Prof, and dear students, so during the learning, we are using the my class as our medium of study. So university asks us to conduct the online learning, and referring to this online learning, we have been in the 15th week, having finished the previous courses. Last week we had discussed about government debt, and now we are almost in the end of the semesters. Next week, inshallah, the student will conduct test competency 4. And now we will going to discuss about advance in business cycle theory. So previously the student has learned about the issue of macroeconomics, the issue of money and inflations, and also agrarian demand and supply, stabilization policy, and others. So with Prof, inshallah, we learn about business cycle theory. Before I pass to the Professor Sanusi, I would like to just introduce her to you, dear students. That Prof Nur Sanusi is quite young professor actually. Having I know directly from you, Prof, you are still very young.
Not so young.
So from the CV that I got from Dr. Suhal, if I can read just a bit, that Professor Nur was graduated from Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia for PhD in economics in 2003. And then he also was graduated from Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia as well for the BEC in 1998. So her specialization is applied econometrics, financial economics, and Islamic economics, inshallah. Okay, Prof, without ado, I'd like to pass through the discussion to you. Maybe you have 20 or 30 minutes, up to you, Prof. Time is yours, Prof.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dimas. I want to share my slide. Everyone can see my slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Amma ba'd. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good evening to all. Before I start my lecture, I would like to thank to Dr. Dimas. Thank you so much, Dr. Dimas, for the invitation.
Yes, Prof.
And inshallah, I will try my very best. I will give my very best in order to explain or share my knowledge related to real business cycle theory with all of you as part of AEK 210303 applied macroeconomics course. Okay. Just a bit introduction of my university. Universiti Malaysia Terengganu is one of a public university in Malaysia. We are a public university owned by the government, and we are located at the east coast of Malaysia in Terengganu. If you come to Malaysia, you have to go to KL first, then you have to take a flight from KL to Terengganu. So we have a beautiful beach and as well as a good food, delicious food in the east coast of Malaysia, a variety of foods in our state. Okay, so as an introduction, I would like to share my content of the lecture. I will start my lecture with the recent development in macroeconomic theories. We will discuss a bit on the recent development related to real business cycle theory. Then we will discuss on the new classical economics as well the real business cycle theory as an introduction. And then we focus on the introduction of RBC theory, what is real business cycle theory. And then we will focus on the first premise of approach in RBC, the methodological approach. And the second premise is conceptual. Then we will discuss on the simple model of RBC with some equations. Okay. Then from the equations, we will analyze the effect of a positive technological shock. Okay. And from the effect of technological shock, we will discuss on the macroeconomic policies consists of monetary policy as well the fiscal policy, but just a little discussion. And my conclusion will be the common beliefs, compare the view of real business cycle theory with other macroeconomic theories. Okay, so I start with recent development. I cannot move my slide. Why? Sorry. Sorry, Dr. Dimas, something happened to my computer. I cannot share the slide.
Yes, doctor.
I'll try to open back. I stopped the share first.
Okay, Prof.
Yeah, sorry so much. Sorry.
Okay, doesn't matter, Prof. Okay, meanwhile waiting for the professors, you can prepare your question and discussion. Yeah, from the outline that professor has shown just now. Very interesting discussion actually about business cycles. Yeah, so if you can understand business cycle, I think you can predict, you can analyze what happened in the futures and what will be done in the futures and what the response of the government policies. So actually economics is quite close with the business cycles. So please do look at the professor's discussions and please prepare your questions and don't hesitate to raise your questions. In the meanwhile, professor's presenting her slides.
Okay, is it okay?
Okay, Prof.
If I'm not using this slide screen, is
yes.
it okay?
Yes, Prof.
You can read. You can
yes,
still can read. Okay.
Yes,
Thank you so much. So the recent development since the late 1980s, there are two groups have dominated the research headline. First, the new classical group. Second, the new Keynesian groups. And third, the new growth theories. And the new classical economists is the group that are responsible in introducing the real business cycle theory, and they taken up the agenda of explaining fluctuations in economy. So the main focus of business cycle theory regarding the fluctuation in output as well as employment. Okay. So the new classical economics and real business cycle theory. The new classical economics represent a group of economists interested in explaining fluctuations as the effect of shock in competitive market with fully flexible prices and wages without any constraint. The pioneer of the business cycle theory is Edward Prescott, and Edward Prescott also the intellectual leader of the new classical. In real business cycle theory, the real business cycle theory also referred as the second generation of new classical models, and the model assumed that output is always at its natural level, means that anything happen to the economy, the output will return to the natural level of output, and fluctuations are movements of the natural level of output. They do not see the fluctuations as deviation from natural level of output, but they see the fluctuations as movement of the natural level of output, and these movements are fundamentally caused by technological progress. And the third focus on this theory is technological progress. Okay. As an introduction of business cycle theory, the business cycle theory actually came from the critique from Lucas. In early 1970s, Robert Lucas, Thomas Hagen, and also Robert Barrow led a strong attack against the mainstream of macroeconomics. They argued that the predictions of Keynesian macroeconomics were widely incorrect. Okay, and based on a doctrine that was fundamentally flawed due to they ignored the full implications of the effect of expectations on behavior. They said that Keynesian macro was incorrect due to the weaknesses of the theory. They ignored the full implications of the effect of expectations on behavior. Therefore, the RBC, the real business cycle approach, has been based on two premises. The first premise is methodological, and the second premise is conceptual. So we look into the first premise, the methodological. Okay, related to fluctuations in economy, as said by Lucas' critique. Lucas had argued that in order to avoid earlier pitfalls, macroeconomic models should be constructed from explicit micro foundation. So what is explicit macro foundation? Explicit micro foundation represents by the utility maximization by workers, profit maximization by firms, and also rational expectations. The maximization process from the micro unit we consider as explicit micro foundation. While the rational expectations main argument was the full implications of the effect of expectations on behavior, they said that people form expectations as rationally as they could based on the information they had. So our behavior as an individual totally based on our rational expectation given all the information that we have. Furthermore, RBC theories believe that the business cycle is an equilibrium phenomena, means that anything happen to the economy, any shock will lead the output to the natural level of output in the medium run and also in the long run. And according to RBC, the equilibrium phenomena in the sense that all markets are clear, means that the good market as well as the financial market always clear, means that always in the equilibrium due to all their assumption of all unemployment is voluntary, means that the financial market are always in equilibrium. Equilibrium represented by M over P equal to Y Li. M money, nominal money, P represented by price, Y represented by output, Li represented by opportunity cost of holding money, while the good market represented by Y equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Y equal to output, C consumption, I investment, G government expenditure, X export, and M import. And before the development of computers, according to Prescott, such macroeconomics model, we are discussing about the explicit micro foundation, was hard to achieve, but the development of computing power has made it possible to solve such models numerically. In this case, according to Prescott, development of computers, they see the development of computers as technological progress. Technological progress also represent the technological shock, the positive technological shock. Okay, now we move to the second premise, the conceptual. Until the 1970s, most fluctuations had been seen as the results of imperfections, and any deviations of actual output from a slowly moving natural level of output. Following up on Lucas' suggestion, okay, Prescott argued in a series of influential contributions that fluctuations could indeed be interpreted as coming from the effect of technological shock in competitive market with fully flexible prices and wages. Prescott believed that changes in output from the natural level of output due to the effect of technological shock or progress in technology. And therefore, the factors that cause fluctuations in output and employment in the RBC are first, technological shock, or what we have seen before, we also can say it as technological progress. Second, variation in environmental condition. Third, changes in real prices, especially the raw material price. Fourth, the changes in tax rates. And fifth, changes in individual preferences. As we said, individual are subject to their rational expectation with given information. Therefore, according to Prescott argued that movements in actual output could be seen as movement in the natural level of output, not as deviation from the natural of output. If you can see from this diagram, from the figure, we have the actual output at point A, represented by the intersection between the IS curve with the LM curve. So the equilibrium output represent the actual output at output Y, and the nominal interest rate is I. Okay, Y represent the actual output below the natural level of output. The natural level of output represented by Yn. In this case, Prescott see the movement of output from Yn to Y as movement. They didn't see as deviations from the natural level of output, but as movement from the natural level of output. Therefore, as new discoveries are made due to positive technological shock, he argued productivity increases, leading to an increase in output. Anything happen to the economy due to positive technological shock will lead to productivity, increase in productivity, and increase in the productivity will lead to increase in output. And according to Prescott, the increase in productivity as well will lead to an increase in the wage, which makes it more attractive to work and leading workers to work more. Therefore, productivity not only increase the output, but also the employment as well. And just as we observe in the real world. Now we move to the simple real business cycle model with some equation. Okay, according to Plosser is one of the developer of real business cycle theory. Okay, the aggregate economic variables as the outcomes of the decision made by many individuals agent acting to maximize their utility subject to production possibilities and resource constraints. Therefore, similar to the view of RBC, the RBC model consider the micro foundation represent the individual utility maximization as well as firm profit maximization in explaining the macroeconomic model. So the basic assumptions of real business cycle model are: first, the economy is populated by a group of identical individuals, means that in a population, the individual in each element in the population are identical individuals in a population. Second, the behavior of the group can be explained in terms of the behavior of one individual. So one element in the population or one individual in a population represent the behavior of the group. Okay, the behavior of the group represented by one individual, and that individual we call it as a representative agent. We call it as RA. The RA, the representative agent goal is to maximize his utility in each period of his lifetime, and he gets utility from two sources, first from consumption and second from leisure. He will maximize his utility from consumption and also leisure. Okay, therefore, from the maximization utility function, we can write the utility function as equation 12.1. Equation 12.1 represent UT is a function of CT and also LET. T represent time period, U represent utility, C represent consumption, and LE represent leisure. In equation 12.2, there is a labor-leisure trade-off. In order to consume, there is a representative agent, the RA, must produce output. In order to produce output, he will forgo leisure. So there is a trade-off between leisure and also production. Output in the model is generated by the production function. So we have the production function as equation 12.2, represented by YT equal to ZT, F, K, T, and T. F means function of. Okay, so YT represent the output. In the production function, we have output as the dependent variable. Output ZT is a function, output is a function of K and N. K represent capital, N represent labor, and we have additional term ZT. ZT which represent shock to the production process. And ZT is the new variable in the real business cycle model. Also represent the technological shock. What happened? I cannot move to the next slide. Sorry, Dr. Dimas. I cannot move to the next slide.
Okay, Prof.
Is it okay, Doctor? And all, is it okay?
Yes, Prof.
Okay, thank you so much.
We can see and read.
Okay, thank you. So, really sorry, I do not know why. I cannot share. Okay. So now we move to a simple real business cycle model. As we said from equation, from the last equation, we have the term Z. Z represent the technological shock. Okay. Shock also represent events that change the level of output forthcoming. Means that current shock in time t will change the output forthcoming. The forthcoming output represent output at time t plus 1 for given level of labor and capital at time t. So current situation, current condition represented by t will affect the output in t plus 1, in time t plus 1. And real business cycle theories include a number of factors in this category, as I mentioned earlier. Among the important ones are shock to technology, variation in environmental factors, and also changes in government regulation that affect productivity, as well changes in the availability of raw materials in our previous assumption related to the changes in price, especially the price of raw materials. And in the business cycle, the capital stock is not taken as given, but rather is chosen for each period by the RA, representative agent. Capital stock is not taken as given, but will be chosen by the representative agent, how much the capital stock. Therefore, the representative agent does not have to consume all the output he produced in each period, and he might want to save for when he is an old representative agent or for a future generation. Hence, what is required is that Y, in this case, equation 12.3, Y represent income, and C represent consumption, and S represent saving. So the income of representative agent at time t equal to his consumption plus his saving. So his income, okay, represented by the consumption plus saving. And in equation 12.3, we ignore the existence of taxes, no taxes at all, no taxes implemented to the income. And equation 12.3 also indicates that in addition to a labor-leisure trade-off, there is also a trade-off between consumption for today and saving for the future consumption. Therefore, saving today will increase consumption in the future because saving is assumed to be invested to increase the capital stock in the next periods. And equation 12.4 represent the equation of capital stock in the next period at time t plus 1. So the K represent capital stock. KT plus 1 represent at time t plus 1, current period plus 1 period ahead. So KT plus 1 equal to ST refer to current saving plus 1 minus delta. Delta represent depreciation rate. KT represent current capital. So the current capital minus the current capital times the depreciation rate plus the saving at time t. It will represent the capital stock at time t plus 1. Okay, the capital stock in period t plus 1 is equal to saving in period t plus the portion of the capital stock, 1 minus delta, left over from period t, where delta is the depreciation rate of the capital, as I said, as I discussed earlier. In this representative agent framework, the behavior of aggregate output, first aggregate output, second employment, third consumption, fourth saving is described in terms of the choice by the representative agent. In this RBC, the real business cycle, they take into consideration the rational expectation behavior in making decision on aggregate output, employment, consumption, and also saving. Now we move to the effect of a positive technological shock. Okay, when there is a positive technological shock, as we discussed earlier, in the case of development of a computer, the shock is assumed to occur exogenously, means that the shock are independently. We cannot determine the shock, but the shock is randomly determined, okay, independently. So the effect of the positive shock will increase the production function. So the positive technology shock will increase the production function, and the increase in production function will improve in productivity, as what we have discussed earlier. Okay, increase in production function will improve the productivity, and improvement in productivity will cause a rise in output. So the technological shock will have a positive impact to productivity as well as output due to increase in production function. And with the increased output, okay, from the increase in output, the representative agent will go to consumption or saving. So when he represent the representative agent, he have a additional output. So, and the additional output will go for consumption or for saving, and he will consume as well save a portion of output. Means that he will consume part of the consumption. He will also save a portion of from the additional output. Again, I cannot. Sorry, something happened to the slide. I cannot move the slide. Sorry. So as we discussed earlier, the additional output will go for consumption and some portion for saving. The higher saving, which in turn means higher investment, and will cause the capital stock to be higher in the period of T+1. And because of higher capital stock at period T+1, output in the next period as well as other future periods means T+1, T+I, T+2, T+3 until T+I will also be higher than it would have been in the absence of the technological shock. Means that we can conclude that the technological shock, positive technological shock, will increase the production function. Increase in production function will improve the productivity. Improvement in productivity will improve the output. Improvement in output means that the RA, the representative agent, will have an additional output. From the additional output, he will consume and as well save a portion of that additional output. And when he save more, higher saving in turns means higher investment in the future, and higher investment will cause the capital stock to be higher in the next period, T+1. Higher capital stock in T+1 also will increase output in time T+1 as well as T+2, T+3 until T+I. Okay, compared to the situation where no technological shock. Okay, now we consider the macroeconomic policy in real business cycle model. In order in optimizing behavior, the policymakers need to consider the business cycle. So we look into the monetary policy first. The monetary policy should focus on controlling the price level And according to Prescott, monetary policy will result in slow, steady growth in the money supply and stable prices, or at least a low inflation rate. We have to maintain the economy by targeting on the inflation rate to ensure that the inflation rate is low with a stable price and slow, also steady growth in money supply. And monetary policy, according to Prescott, cannot affect output and unemployment. And even it would, it represent in medium run and long run. Monetary policy is powerless in the medium run and in the long run because the money policy unable to affect output and also unemployment in the medium and in the long run. And even it could in the short run, it would be suboptimal to try to eliminate the business cycle. And according to Prescott, the fiscal policy actions will affect output and employment in the RBC model. Any changes in the tax rate on labor income will affect the choice of optimizing agent. The tax rate will affect the individual behavior by affecting their wealth. And therefore, they will affect output and also unemployment as well. So as conclusion, I can conclude from our lecture as what we have been discussed. Most macroeconomists agree that in the short run, shift in aggregate demand affect output. Okay. In the medium run, output returns to the natural level as we have discussed earlier. In the view of RBC, output always in the equilibrium phenomenon. Okay. And in the long run, capital accumulation and the rate of technological progress are the main factors that determine the evolution of the level of output. The level of output can be higher compared to the output without technology in the long run. And monetary policy affects output in the short run, but powerless, and in other words, not in the medium and run or in the long run. And the last one, fiscal policy has a short run, medium run, and long run effect on output. So what the disagreement of or critique of the RBC? The RBC view related to policies that try to prevent these fluctuations are unnecessary and misguided due to their view that the output is always in natural level of output in the medium run as well as in the long run is not true at all according to other economists. And economists who view the business cycle from the Keynesian perspective believe that the real business cycle theory wrongly for inaction in the face of costly deviations from potential output. Most of us see that the deviation from the natural when the equilibrium output below the natural level of output, we call it as deviation from natural level of output. But according to RBC, when the equilibrium of output below the natural level, it represents movement of the natural level of output. So the statement or the view are much controversial. With that, I end my lecture. I give it back to Dr. Dimas. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, professors, for your enlightening presentations. Dear sisters and brothers, just now we had learn and hear from professors that real business cycle is very important in explaining the characteristic of the movement, either for monetary, fiscal, yeah, and also some exogenous. She said about exogenous shocks, and in fact that if we read in some textbook that real business cycle is quite interesting theory. Because in real business cycle, if you read from the textbook, actually tries to explain that fluctuation originate from the exogenous shocks. It means that the shock that coming from the independent variables, out of our control. So the shock that quite unpredictable, or beyond the control of the economy. So actually it is very dangerous, actually dangerous shocks, because out of the domain of the government somehow, such as professor says there about the I don't know whether technological shocks is exogenous, or maybe such as pandemic right now is maybe exogenous. Because beyond our control and unpredictable. Okay, professors and dear sisters and brothers, I will pass to you. Maybe you have some inquiries. You need some more clarification to professors. Time is yours, please. Or if you have some maybe response, feedbacks, or you want to share your experience, just feel free. Umron, perhaps, please, Brother Umron, or Sister Fatwa and friends, please.
Okay, sir. I just want to ask for verification about, according to Prescott, technological shocks can lead to increase in output and employment. But there are many cases in 21st century that many technological improvement instead decrease employment rate, such as probably the robots that produced in China to serve cafes and many other technologies as well. Thank you very much.
Okay, so you, Umran, you means that the technological improvement can increase the unemployment. It is right?
Yes, the technological shocks can decrease employment rate.
Oh, decrease the employment rate. Okay. Okay, Prof. Maybe you have a response, Prof.
Thank you so much for the question, Umran. Thank you, Dr. Dimas. Okay, when we say the traditional macroeconomic view, when there is any recession means that something happened to our economy, any shock to the economy. For example, in the real case now is a pandemic COVID-19, isn't it? So when there is a recession, means that, as the figure I shared with all of you in the slide, the output equilibrium will be below the natural level of output. Okay, so the y end above the equilibrium output. Equilibrium output represented by the intersection between the IS curve and also the LN curve. Okay, the intersection represent the actual output, we call it as equilibrium output. When the equilibrium output below the natural level of output, it also represents that unemployment above the natural level of unemployment. So in that case, if there is recession in the economy, anything happen to the economy, it will cause unemployment above the natural level of unemployment. So we have to remember that anything happen that to the economy that deviate or that shift, that move the natural level of output in a new equilibrium, it will cause an additional unemployment in the economy. Okay, that is my first view. Okay, the second view, when there is a recession, means that our equilibrium output below the natural level of output, the automatic view from the macroeconomics views, the price level will decrease over time. We look into our current status in Malaysia and also in Indonesia now. Due to COVID-19, how about the price level in Indonesia? Is it increase or decrease? Amran, can you respond me?
Okay.
Yeah. What happened to the price level in Indonesia? In Malaysia, for example, we have negative inflation rate in Malaysia due to fully lockdown during March, April, May and June. So the inflation rate in Malaysia is negative. I do not know the inflation rate in Indonesia, but I thought we have the similar trend, negative or interest rate or deflation. We call deflation. Okay.
Yes.
When there is a decrease in price, it will affect the inflation rate, decrease in inflation rate. In our case, our inflation rate is deflation, negative inflation rate. When there is deflation in inflation rate represent decrease in the price level. And please remember the LM curve. Our equation for LM curve is M over P. M represent money supply. M over P represent money supply or real money balance. M represent nominal money. P represent price. When the P decrease means that M over P will increase. Am I right? So when the M over P increase, it will shift the LM curve to the right. Okay, so the LM curve will increase to the right, and according to RBC, we will get to the natural level of output in the medium run. So with the same LM curve, with the same IS curve, the LM curve will shift to the right, and the new equilibrium will be at YN. YN represent the potential output or represent the natural level of output. Okay, that's my answer. Is it okay, Omron? Can you
Yes.
understand?
It's okay, but it's a bit overwhelming for me, sir, and for me, ma'am.
Okay, Umran. Okay, Umran. So from the professor discussion, actually, she want to emphasize that if the equilibrium is below, to the natural level of natural level of output, so the unemployment level will be increased. So this is the point, the first point. And the second point, in terms of inflation in Indonesia, same with Malaysia, Prof. According to Bank Indonesia, just now I just checked through the website, we have the inflation 1.59% year by year.
Very low.
Very low.
Yeah, very low.
Very
The
low.
normal inflation rate is in Malaysia between 3% to 4%.
Yes.
If below 2% is very low.
Yes, Prof. So we have inflation is 3.5 plus minus 1, the range. So 4.5 until 3.5 until 5.5 actually, our range of inflations. So what the Prof says just now is correct, because of the exogenous shocks happens, the price level decreases, so it make the deflation happens, and the LM curve will move, and then it make our equilibrium in the medium run will be changed. Okay, Prof. Thank you, Prof. And any other question, please, sisters and brothers? Sister Nana, perhaps from Papua, or maybe others. Brother Rifki. Okay, if you have no question, Prof, I have just a bit question, Prof.
Please, Dr. Dimas,
in terms of the real business cycles, so if we notice about the RBC, what is the dominance source of making the fluctuations of these business cycles, whether originating from aggregate supply or aggregate demand, Prof? Dominant factors.
Based on the RBC, their major concern on the technological shock. Therefore, the discussion of RBC started with the positive technological shock. The positive technological shock will affect the production function, will increase the production function. Then improvement in productivity. Improvement in productivity will increase the output. Increase in output will increase the consumption as well as additional output. Will increase the consumption as well as saving for the future. And saving will increase the capital stock in the future. And capital stock in the future will also represent investment and also represent improvement in output at time t plus 1, t plus 2 until t plus I. And their view more to the supply side, Doctor.
Okay.
Yeah, more to the supply side.
Okay, Prof. Okay, Prof. And here, Prof, I read from the textbook that in the RBC, there are two important elements that connected with the RBC. The first is we call impulse mechanism and propagation mechanism, Prof.
Yeah.
So in here, in impulse mechanism, it says that an initial mechanism that leads to variables to deviate from its steady state value. So the initial factors that may trigger, that may give the shocks to the economy, and then the propagation mechanism is the deviation that happened from the initial mechanism that make the shock persist for some time. So based on your understanding, Prof, for the existing pandemic right now,
yeah,
how would we deal with this pandemic by looking at this real business cycle, Prof? It means that do we are in the process of the initial mechanism, meaning that these shocks trigger the economy to be fluctuating over time, or we are in the process of persisting, Prof, right now, so that nobody knows how long this pandemic or this fluctuation will end. How your opinion, Prof?
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Dimas. May I answer the question by using the Malaysian case, because I do not, I'm not very familiar with the Indonesian case. So in the case of Malaysia, started from the fully lockdown March, April, May, June, and we will start open our economy slowly. Started from June 2020. After the fully lockdown, our economic growth was about -28%. The first experience in Malaysia, the economic growth was negative 28% by that time. And after we opened the economy slowly, okay, the government introduced some stimulus packages, such as we call it as penjana. Penjana represent pelanjana economy. Also, we have another package, stimulus package, we call it as prihatin. Prihatin more to cash assistance to the affected community or affected group. For example, yang kena buang kerja, the unemployment, also the B40 group. B40 group in Malaysia stand for 40% group that have the lowest income, 40% lowest income group. So the prihatin more to the cash assistance in form of cash to the affected group, the B40 group, and also unemployed individual. And while penjana more to the firm or company or businesses. For example, in Malaysia, we have some packages for businesses. The government will finance the training for their workers, training for their staff. Okay, the training, for example, in oil and gas, in order to improve their skill. So improvement in skill also represent the technological progress as well. So in Malaysia, we are focusing on the technological progress. Also, we call it as K economy, knowledge economy. So we are trying to develop a skilled worker in order to ensure that these all workers can catch up with the technology, and they will improve their skill from low skill to medium skill and also the upper skill. And also in Malaysia, for budget 2021, the government allocates certain portion of budget in order to increase the high-tech agency or high technology firm. They will give a certain incentive to special firms that produce the advanced technology, as well as to train their staff in order to use the technology as well. So in this case, in the case of Malaysia, currently with Penjana, Prihatin, and also the budget 2021, our current economic growth is 4% compared to previous negative 28%. So the assistance from the government, the intervention from the government, especially the Prihatin, to in order to give cash to the affected community to increase their consumption, as well as to help the firms in order to give cash to the firm, as well as improve their skilled worker. It give a positive impact to Malaysian economy. Currently, we are in 4%, and in 2021, we are expecting the economic growth will be within 6.5% to 7.5%. It's higher compared to current economic growth. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in
Okay.
this case, the real business cycle, it also represent in the case of Malaysia, when there is a recession in Malaysia due to pandemic COVID-19, our equilibrium output below the national level of output. So the price level decrease over time. We are facing the deflation in Malaysia. So the LM curve shift upward, and we are moving to the national level of output, inshallah. But currently our unemployment rate still increase compared to the national level of unemployment. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, dear sisters and brothers. I know that you are still maybe dizzy when you are studying about business cycles because this study is quite interesting actually, and very timely discussions from existing condition either in Malaysia, Indonesia, or over the world right now, because the issue of recession, the issue of deflation, the issue of inflation, actually very close to with the business cycles. Yeah. So if you can understand the cycles, so you can introduce or intervene the economy through the correct policy. So what should be the government do in order to respond the existing fluctuation, whether the government should to increase or decrease the monetary policy or expansionary or contractionary monetary policy, fiscal policy, trade policy, what others. So it is depending on the current position of the business cycles. Yeah. Okay, Prof, we still have maybe 2-3 minutes left, Prof. I want to ask again to the students whether you have any other questions, dear sisters and brothers, please. Enough?
Sir, may I ask?
Okay, please, Demas. Yes.
Okay. Okay, before that, you said that before technology is the one of factor that cause fluctuation in output and employment, right?
Yeah.
So can you explain more why technology can be a factor of fluctuation? Shouldn't technology be one of factor that great in the help in dealing with fluctuations? Thank you.
Thank you so much for the question. Okay. Also, again, really sorry because my apologies because I do not know the situation in Indonesia. So I'm so sorry. So again, the example will be in Malaysia compared to South Korea. Okay. In the case of Malaysia, in 1990s, 1990-an, 1990s, our condition of growth in Malaysia compared to South Korea was similar. We are in the category of developing countries, okay, in 1990s. But now in 2000 above, 2020, 2010 also, we can see that South Korea is a developed country compared to Malaysia still as the developing country. Why? Because of the technological progress. In Korea, they have a very advanced technological progress compared to Malaysia. So in the case of Malaysia, our economic growth generated by consumption, our consumption, but we just have a little population compared to Indonesia. We just have around 32 million people compared to your country. Is a very big country with a very big consumption itself. So we are depending on first consumption. Second, we are depending on the investment. Investment inflow come from foreign direct investment come to Malaysia, inflow, or our domestic investment from the government as well as from the private sector. Then the third factor that affecting our growth is government expenditure. Currently in Malaysia, we are facing the deficit budget for more than 10 years. Means that we are expending more than what we get. So we are spending more than what we get yearly. And fourth, we are also depending on export as well. Currently, we have a positive net export. Positive net export means that we have export greater than import. And also we have a lot of reserve, not as lot as Indonesia because you have a very big country. So in the case of Malaysia, our factors to generate economic growth are very limited. Therefore, we need to move from the traditional economic growth. Traditional, I mean C, consumption, investment, government expenditure, as well as export, net export compared to import. We need to focus to a new mechanism or a new factor to improve our economic growth. Therefore, we are focusing on K economy, knowledge economy. In knowledge economy, we have not only the technological progress, but we also have the improvement in skill worker. We call it as skill worker. So the skill worker will improve the productivity. Okay, and also the technology also will increase the productivity. When we use technology, for example, we will increase our production. We take a simple example of one firm. An improvement in technology will improve their production. Improve in production, we increase output as a whole, as aggregate output. Therefore, in the case of Malaysia, we have to move from the traditional factors, CIG export, we have to move to the knowledge economy. We call it as knowledge economy that represent the technological progress as well as the skill worker in order to improve our productivity and to shift the economic growth further. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, Dimas, I wish that professors has already answered your questions.
Yes, thank you, Prof.
Okay, Prof, time goes very fast. We have been 2:15 or in Malaysia 3:15. And we are in the end of the sessions, Prof, unfortunately. And we know that the student here want to hear from you longer, but inshallah we will invite you inshallah next time to be with us. And Prof, before we end, maybe you have any advice, Prof, or you have some suggestions to motivate us, Prof, as students, particularly bachelor student in economics, how we view the future and what should be prepared based on your humble experience, Prof, for our motivations, including myself, Prof.
Oh no, thank you so much, Dr. Dimas. But from my personal experience, when comparing the students in Malaysia compared to students in Indonesia, students in Indonesia more independently compared to us in Malaysia. Yeah, that's my personal opinion. Because when I'm attending any conferences in Indonesia, from my previous experience, I will get a lot of questions from the student. But in the case of Malaysia, if I ask the student, do you have any question? Nobody want to ask me anything at all. They only listen and we have to give. So in that case, I think that students in Indonesia more independent compared to us, and actually Malaysia have to learn from Indonesia in terms of their independency, in terms of their personal communication. We have to learn more from you. But in the case of pandemic COVID-19, not only Malaysia, not only Indonesia, but all the countries are facing the recession time now. Okay, so in order to for example, for the students, in order to get a better job, maybe it's quite difficult due to the current situation. And my advice, it's better if you further your study in this time of pandemic, to ensure that the economy will stable again. But inshallah, if we have a good policy, for example, fiscal policy, a good fiscal policy, we will get back to the national level of output in the near future, in the next year, and the economy will improve as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dimas. Thank you so much to all the students.
Yeah. Okay, professors and dear sisters and brothers, we have been in the end of the discussions. And on the behalf of International Program of Islamic Economic and Finance, Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Muhammadiyah Jakarta, we would like to again express our thanks and appreciation to Prof. Nur Azura for the time with us for 1 hour. And hopefully it is not the end of the silaturahmi, Prof. But it is the start of us to have maybe more collaboration with you and other your institutions. And we are so welcome, Prof, to have more research collaboration, visiting professors, exchange programs. And in fact, last August, we invited your students to join our summer course program, Prof. For 3 weeks. Alhamdulillah, there are 20 students under the supervision of Dr. Suhal.
Okay, Dr. Suhal.
Yeah. Okay, Prof. Nur and other students, let we end this session with reciting Hamdulillah together. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
With that, we end this program. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Dimas. Thank you so much,
Thank you so
everyone.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Satu lagi, Bu. Oke.